Now we are going to see while loop in JavaScript. The while loop is like for loop, which means that it is used for looping, but it has a different structure to it. So rather than in for we take a variable and then have a condition and all other post conditions like I plus plus all in the structure of the starting for block. Here what we are trying to do is that we have a while keyword and then write a condition after that, and then this loop block means whatever the body of the while loop is there within these curly braces. So this is called the body of the while loop. Now this part of the while loop will keep on running repeatedly again and again while this condition is true. So that is what is the meaning of while loop. I have a particular condition, and while this condition is true, I'll keep on running no matter what. So now let's see, there is a variable num is equal to 1. Now I'm saying that yeah, you test this condition, and if this thing is true, then you keep on running. So num is 1 is less than or equal to 5. This is true, that's why I'll go and execute this. At the end again I will check this condition, and that's why it is important to make the progress regarding the condition whatever ultimately you want to reach. That progress has to be made within the body. So here while 1 is less than 5, that is true. Now I have printed 1. After that I have to do something with num. So you increase, decrease, or whatever you do, but you have to somehow reach to the condition of this thing where you want to falsify this so that the loop can stop. Otherwise it will go into infinite loop, right? So for example, let's write the same thing here. I have number num, and then till it is less than or equal to 5 it is running. So you see when I run this, then it prints 1 2 3 4 5. It is very important to do this thing correct, right? So let's say I write I comment this num plus plus, then what will happen? 1 is less than or equal to 5, 1 will be printed, and then nothing is there more inside this body. Then I again go to the condition, then again 1 is less than 5, so again 1 will be printed, and this will go into infinite loop and your terminal will be stuck in that. So you try to run this and you see that it is just and you press Ctrl C, otherwise it will keep on running. So you see that too many times just 1 is printing, it is never finishing until unless you press Ctrl C to cancel the execution of that code. So that is what it is happening here. Similar condition can happen if you put the wrong condition here. So for example, if greater than less than or equal to 5, let's say by mistake I write greater than equal to 5, then what is going to happen, that it will not run at all, first of all, because 1 is greater than or equal to 5. So this will not go inside this, and after that this will not run at all. So if you see that I run, then nothing happens. But if let's say you are having 10 and then you go inside and 10 is greater than or equal to 5, yeah sure, I go run, and then after that 10 becomes 11 is again greater than 5, so it runs, and every time you are increasing rather than decreasing, so it goes 10 11 12 13, and it will never be smaller than 5. This condition will always be true. So in that sense you'll see that again, you see that until unless you put Control C, this thing will keep on running. You see, so many times it has run. Why? Because this condition is not we are never terminating that condition. So in order to avoid those things, definitely you should take care of those things. Okay, that is one thing. So this is the basic semantics of while. Apart from that, other things like break, continue, and all those things like for loops, that you can apply for while loops also. So let's see here an example that rather than having a particular condition here, what you can say that, you know what, I don't have any condition, you keep on always running. And right now if you don't do anything, then you see that it will keep on running. You see it is keep on running. Why? Because I am not saying when to stop. So while true means always keep on running, and if I do while false, then obviously it will never run. It will never run. You see, it never runs. But sometimes while true is needed when the condition at which you want to break, that condition, let's say you put somewhere inside the body, and you decide from inside the body when you want to break. right? So that is the example here. So let's say if you write something like this, that yeah, whatever the condition, if this thing, so earlier what was happening? Earlier what was happening, that this thing is less than or equal to 5 till this condition is there, then you keep on running, otherwise you break from the loop. Now we are doing the reverse. We are trying to put the condition break, that when to break, right? So this condition will be reversed. It will be less than or equal to, the opposite of that is greater than 5, which means that yeah, you starting with 1, that is fine. You print 1, you increase to 2. Again check whether 2 is greater than 5. No. Again print 2, 3, 4. But then you print 4 and after that you become 5. Then 5 is greater than 5 is false, right? And that's why, so we see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is printed, because when num is 1, 2, 3, 4, each of the time these things are false. So 4 is greater than 5 is false. And that's why I don't break. I keep on continuing with the loop. 5 is greater than 5 is false. So I don't break. I go again. I print 5. Then when num becomes 6, then 6 is greater than 5 is true. Now this thing is true, which means I am saying that break the loop. And that's why we will break the loop, and only till 5 it will be printed. So you need to take care of these conditions. Another loop is another similar like while, but the difference is that the while condition is at the end rather than at the beginning. So here you see that the while condition is at the top, right? Let's go to the earlier part. So we had num is less than or equal to 5, okay, and it printed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? But rather than this, let's say this condition, which is at the front, I put it at the back, and what I do, I replace it with do, and then in the end I put this thing. So now what is happening is that firstly it is running, and then it is checking the condition to continue this loop or not, which means that it ensures that at least one time definitely this will be executed. So if your requirement is something like that, then you could do this structure, do while loop. So here again you see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is printed, but now you see the difference. If let's say I am saying that it is 10, so 10 is less than 5, obviously it is not true, so it will break, but at least one time it will run. You see, one time it has printed 10 and 10 has become 11, and then 11 is less than 5 is equal to false, and that's why this loop is exited. But since this is do while, not while, that's why the condition is not checked in the beginning, the condition is checked in the end, and that's why it ensures that at least one time definitely it will run no matter what. So this is the difference in the structure. Again, you could have same thing like what we did earlier. So instead of having this condition here, I can have something like that. You just keep on running, and I will check some condition. I will check some condition that when to break. Now when to break, you see that the condition, if it is and it is starting with 1, let's say, obviously, then 1 is less than or equal to 5, then right now it will break directly, so nothing will be run. So if you put something like so it will be the opposite of whatever you want, the condition, the terminating condition. Generally whatever here you write, that will be opposite here. Why? Because here the condition is for continuing, and here the condition is for breaking, and that's why it is opposite. Now you see 1 1 is greater than 5 is false, and that's why it will not break. It will print. Then 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is greater than 5 is false, and that's why it will not break. 5 also it will print. But after that, what will happen? That when 5 becomes 6, then it is 6 is greater than 5, it is becoming true, and that's why break is executed. And once break is executed, this loop is terminated. And that's why 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is printed. Okay, you could do some additional things. So let's say you can use break, at the same time you can use continue also. Okay, so let's say you write something like I don't want to print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say I want to, or let's continue it till 10, so that I have a bigger sample size. So 1 through 10, all the values are there. But let's say I don't want to print 1, 3, 5 these. I just want to print even numbers. Then what can I say? I can say that if my num mod 2 is equal to 0, if this thing is happening, is not equal to 0, let's say. Why? Because if it is equal to 0, then it is even. What I want, that even, for even you go and continue. you continue means that after this whatever is there you just print it. However, if it is odd, which is the case right now, then I don't want you to execute these lines. Go to the next line, which means that go to the next iteration. I mean, don't finish the current iteration. Just start the next iteration. The current iteration is done. For that, you can write something like continue, and what it will do is that it will say that okay, for 2 4 6 it will pass and run these things and it will print, but for 1 3 5 this thing will be satisfied, and that's why continue will happen and it will go to the next iteration. Now you see there is a bug in this. Why? You see nothing is happening. It is stuck. It is stuck, and it is stuck in an like in an infinite loop. You see why that is happening? It is happening because see what is happening. Let's say initially 1 is there. Okay, so 1 is greater than 10 is false, so I'm not breaking. 1 mod 2 is not equal to 0. This is true. So I continue. And then what after continue what I do? While true. So again it starts, and then again num is 1, num is 1, num is 1. Num is not changing. So that's why the condition is not changing, and that's why it goes into the infinite loop. So in order to avoid that, what you have to do, that I know that whenever this condition is satisfied, I will be breaking from here only. So I will not have the opportunity to do an num plus plus. So what you have to do is that you have to properly write a block, and before continue you increase num also, right? If you do that, then it has got the opportunity to increase it, and that's why it will run as expected and all the even numbers will be printed. Okay, now it looks like so at 2 places I am doing num plus. What if this condition is slightly complicated? Then at 2 places I have to write. So it is always good to have your avoid duplicacy of the code. So what you can do is that, what can I do in order to not do num plus plus later, but rather how to do num plus plus at the beginning. So let's say here also I'm not writing, here also I'm not writing, and I am doing num plus plus here. So you can do this, but now you have to start from 0. If you start from, because if you start from 0, then as soon as you enter, then it becomes 1. So that is what we wanted. We started to have the first iteration with 1, second iteration with 2, and then now it will work as expected. You see, again 2 4 6 8 10 has come. So this is the same as earlier. Now this, whatever the progress statement is there, which is making progress on the num, that thing is now at one place rather than multiple places. Okay, so we'll see some more JavaScript rules of naming conventions in the next video. Right now it is done. Just have some practice on loops, because it is going to be important. It is a very important construct. Mostly you'll be using for loops, but while loops and do while loops you should also be comfortable about that. See you in the next video.